So we work very hard. We work very, very hard. And I think the voters rewarded us because they look back on it and they said, well, wait a minute. This guy has always tried to do the right thing. He's taken some of the most politically incorrect positions, got nothing out of it, just because he thought it was the right thing to do. I mean, if I was really trying to gain votes, I mean, you don't jump out and do domestic partnership legislation at a time when people weren't ready for it. You don't start talking about smoking bans. You don't put up bills to fight ethics and corruption matters while the city is under a federal investigation and you've got massive opposition against it. But it's just the right thing, and people appreciate your effort. Now, I wasn't out there just trying to get pats on the back for effort, trying to get something done. And so when you're in these political fights, who are your friends? What's your base of support? And take that enthusiasm, and if it's 10 people sitting around the dinner table, take those 10 people and work as hard as you can and expand that base, because one of those 10 people is going to know someone else who cares about this issue, and someone else, and someone else, and someone else, which is why we also had the largest volunteer base, the most donors, and raised the most money, and had the most active campaign. I went to more than 60 mayoral forums. We have more mayoral forums in this election than I think has ever happened in the city's history. We have more broadcast TV and radio events in this campaign than ever. And I was one of the persons, I jumped out last December and said, we should have mayoral activities, mayoral forums, 2 or 3 of them a week. I said, oh, that's a joke. Nobody will agree to that. Other candidates won't. I didn't care what the other candidates wanted to do. I had quit my job, so I had a lot of time. 3 of the guys were already in office, and the one guy was doing whatever he was doing. And so you have to use whatever your assets are, whatever's to your advantage. I had time, they didn't. I was right here in Philadelphia every day. If you've got to run up and down the turnpike and the train and all this other kind of stuff, it's all about wear and tear. And so you use the assets that you have available. And one thing we had available was time. And we could use our time. And then we put out position papers and forced the issues that people didn't want to talk about. We put them square out there. So we took some controversial stands on a bunch of issues. And of course, everyone knows that the big issue in Philly today is violence and crime, and we took some pretty aggressive stands on it. Politically, people thought that it would hurt us. I think as it turns out, people said, this guy must really be serious. He's taking the most risk in putting out a crime plan. He must actually believe in it because he knows that it can backfire. And so again, take risks. You believe that certain things need to happen, certain things need to change, and you have to ask yourself, what am I prepared to do to make that change? Governor Casey, a long, long time ago, I'll never forget this. They had some t-shirts made up. This was back at one of the conventions. And a very simple message. It said, what did you do when you had the power? I've never forgotten. What did you do when you had the power? And that doesn't mean that you're in some high public office. All of us have power. As citizens, as Pennsylvanians, as Americans. Use the power that you have. And whether it's going to the voting booth, whether it's working your community, whether it's supporting an organization, get involved. Do the right thing. It's more than just a movie title. It really should be a way of life. It really should be a philosophy. If you find that passion, if you find the thing that you are so committed to, just pursue it. So we are going to have an exciting election. Remember, election day is November 6th. It really is an election. There's another person running, and we're not taking anything for granted. That's why I didn't take the entire summer off. But more important than this election, I think that what's going to happen will determine the future of the city for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And graduates of this organization should be actively, aggressively, and intimately involved in that change. Because what I want is for people to look back at this time and say this was the start of the Renaissance of Philadelphia, the great rebirth of a wonderful American and international city. And you have an opportunity to literally get in on the ground floor of what will be one of the greatest turnarounds of any city in the United States of America. And so this organization should be one of the feeder organizations into the new government. We have a lot of change to do. Albert Einstein said a long time ago, if you continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. Well, we must be insane if we think that we're going to get anything different from having the same people doing the same things over and over and over. And so there is a big change coming to the city government. There will be a slight spike in unemployment. And then there'll be some new people, and new employees, and new ideas. And so one of the reasons we've spent some time over the course of the summer going around to other cities is I want to break this mindset that we have here. That somehow the only ideas are ideas that come out of this city. People are confronting the same issues and challenges that we are all over the United States of America. They have crime in New York and Chicago and Boston and LA and San Francisco and Atlanta, Boston and Baltimore. And they pick up trash and they run rec centers and they have streets and they have libraries and they have all the same things that we have. We have to stop thinking in such a short-sighted fashion. That somehow, some way, if somebody has a good idea somewhere else, how could it possibly work here? We also need to work on our mindset and our self-esteem problem. That somehow, some way, we don't deserve better. And that we're so willing to accept so quickly second or third best because it's politically expedient. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and we don't want to upset the apple cart. Well, you know, that's just not good enough. It's not good enough anymore. And so I need to encourage all of you, in some way, shape, or form, to join with us, whether coming into the government or working with a community-based organization, do something that makes a difference here in this city, because we have a unique opportunity. And whether it's working with a great congressional delegation, I've been asked in the past, you know, what are you going to do about lobbying work in DC or in Harrisburg? Let me see, I got Bob Brady, Chaka Fattah, Allison Schwartz, Bob Casey, and Marlon Spector. I'll put those five up against any team of lobbyists anywhere in the United States of America on behalf of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. The governor of the Commonwealth lives in Philadelphia. The Speaker of the House lives in Philadelphia. The House Democratic Appropriations Chair, Representative Evans, working hard for us every day, lives in Philadelphia. The Senate Majority Leader lives in Delaware County. We have friends and supporters that we don't even know about all throughout this region. What it takes is a leader in City Hall to get out of the hall and get to work out in the counties and develop a regional partnership unlike anything we've ever seen in our history. Democrats and Republicans working across imaginary political lines and boundaries to make this region, southeastern Pennsylvania, the place that we know that it can be. 40% of the country's population lives within a day's drive of Philadelphia. We're not just a transit stop between New York and Washington. I have no envy of either of those places. They're incredible financial and government capitals of the world. But it all started here, in Philadelphia. We're not Williamsburg. We don't have to create or recreate history. It actually happened. So you have a unique opportunity. And if I do anything in the future that is worthy, I'm now putting a shameless plug. One day I might find myself worthy enough to get one of those CPL pins, or in 5 years Jordan will have a full marketing effort. There'll be hats and gear and all the other stuff. I'm on the City Year board. It took me about 8 years to get a City Year hat, so I'm putting in my claim right now for a CPL pin. Seriously, I'm so proud of all of you. This is what democracy, at least in Philadelphia and across Pennsylvania, should look like. The diversity of this crowd is what our own Democratic Party should look like here in Philadelphia. We need to actually lower our average age in the party to reflect the average age in this organization. I am so proud of you. I'm so excited. I look forward to seeing all of you out, not only on the campaign trail, but on the trail to turn this city around. I need your help and support. Congratulations.